Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we are playing mono blue Merfolk with a splash of mathematics. I have figured out a way to really make the curve smooth here, and we have a ton of one drops, including 4 missed collars, which I think are obligatory right now. Let me read this card just in case you haven't seen it before. So it's a 1 blue mana Merfolk. Sacrifice this creature until end of turn. If a non-token creature would enter and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. So this is an onboard 1 blue mana answer to Reanimator and to Show and Tell, and of course to Oops and All Spells. Now, Oops All Spells can in theory still win, even if you've activated Mistcaller. They could just use Memory's Journey to flash it back and put 2 Lotus Petals and a Thassa's Oracle on the top of their deck, but then you still have 3 turns to either find a Force of Will or one of your 4 sink into stupors, or just to beat them down and kill them. So I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think this is a really good main deckable answer right now. And of course, the whole point of having all these awesome 1-drops is they get bigger, because we have 12 Lord of Atlantis type effects, including Vodolian Hexcatcher, which is one of the best Merfolk ever printed. It makes all your Merfolk into curse catchers, essentially like a daze type effect on non-creature spells. Really strong. We've got the 2 Harbinger of the Sea. We've got the 3 True Name Nemesis. These are great for just dropping down and closing the game, even after your control opponent, if we ever run into any control decks, has kind of solved the game and it just needs to close. Well, suddenly True Name Nemesis can really mess things up for them. Of course, we've got the very simple mana base of 15 islands and 4 caverns. I don't think it hurts at all to have the caverns in here. And we have the sink into stupors for a total of 23 mana sources. I've crunched all the math, which you can read in the description. But essentially, we are going to be able to drop these Merfolk really quickly. We don't need Aether Vial. We're going to be able to empty our hand, and that is a good thing because you want to get on the board and you want to beat people down quickly. And this deck can absolutely do that. In the sideboard, we have some anti-Moonstompy style tech that is one of the most popular decks right now, and we've got 4 blast effects, which I think are really strong. We've got 2 Hull Breachers. These are good against 1-ring decks, including, of course, Moonstompy. We've got 4 Force Negations. Just, we don't want to mess around against combo. We've got 2 extra Harbinger of the Seas in case we get paired against something like lands, and we've got the 3 Grafdigger's Cage. Should be a fun league. We're going to do our best to go up against what I think is a very overpowered deck in blue-black tempo / Reanimator, and we're going to hopefully be able to beat lots of fair decks and lots of control decks should we be lucky enough to be paired against them. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're up against a likely Moonstompy player. I'm not sure how good of a matchup this is going to be, considering they have Fury, which can wreck our board. But I like this hand very much. We don't have a second land. We do have several 1-drops. I think we keep this. I don't want to mulligan a force hand against their explosive deck. I'm going to keep, and I think we don't get land. We're just hitting for 1, but it might be okay. I could have mulliganed this, but the whole theme of the deck is don't mulligan. Let's go ahead and drop. I mean, this can disrupt them. I'm going to drop the Mind Spring. It's notable that even though we do have Island Walk, which is usually unblockability in Legacy, their deck doesn't have islands in it. Oh, or does it? Haha. All right, they're on some sort of control deck, which is great for us. So even if I don't draw a land, I'm going to just be able to keep dropping 1-drops, and it'll be like the slowest beatdown. But eventually we will draw lords. We'll draw lands for our lords. All right, Rishadan Port is not as good as Tide Shaper here. I'm going to go ahead and swing for 1. Post-combat, we'll go ahead and drop this Tide Shaper. All right, we're just chilling, waiting for a second land. I feel confident that we'll eventually get it. Brainstorm, main phase, which is really when you should cast your Brainstorms. But they feel confident that we don't have a daze, apparently. Okay, Ancient Tomb. Lotus Petal. Okay, so they could be on some sort of combo deck here. Show and Tell. Well, I'm going to try to stop that. I think this, we don't necessarily need this. Dockhand can do some work, tapping down the Ancient Tomb. Yeah, let's see if they have Disruption here. They do. Okay, we are very much dead here, but I am going to put in the Lord. We're not giving away any information, and we'll see what they play. The card they pitched, by the way, yeah, they've got Atraxa. They pitched a Force. We could outrace this. Let's see. They've got Flusterstorm Mountain, Flusterstorm, Scalding Tarn, Island, Lotus Petal, Misty, City of Traders Ponder. Not a very good Atraxa. So, but they are going to be able to race this most likely. We need a second land now. Let's see, what do they keep? Fluster, Tarn, Ponder, Lotus Petal. So they got 4 cards off that. They immediately play the... are they just going to Ponder right now? No? Okay. So we can take 3 cracks from this. Unfortunately, we did not draw a land. Super bummer. Again, I signed up for this. I'm not going to complain about the deck's variance or anything. We had a decent chance of drawing a land there. Again, we have 23 mana sources in our deck. 22 left out of 60 cards. Or out of 52 cards. So that does happen. I am going to play this other Mindspring Merfolk. I can't imagine the ability mattering, but I can't imagine locking them off an Ancient Tomb mattering. So we'll play this. We'll just attack for 5. Next turn we'll attack for 7. No, yeah, we're attacking for 5. I mean, it's not bad at all. If we draw another land, I do think we can win. Maybe not. I won't do the math. I'm just going to be lazy. All I know is their hand doesn't do a lot other than Ponder. And if they tap an Ancient Tomb, it is not free for them to do that. Okay, sneak attack. So we're probably dead here. Well, we fought hard, but here comes Emrakul. Okay. So they had the Force to protect. They had a pretty explosive start. We never found our second land. I think you could argue I should have mulliganed that. I'm not going to fight back on that. Okay. So do I think that they have the One Ring? Probably. I think we bring in the 4 Force negations for sure. Mistcaller is good here for sure, because both of the times, like Mistcaller could have stopped them putting something in temporarily with sneak attack. It still stays in their hand, and they just don't activate it if you activate Mistcaller, or they choose not to play anything. I think sneak attack is a may. Hydroblast can come in. They are playing red. We saw the sneak attack. I think that should come in. Harbinger is terrible against their deck. It's just not worth playing. I think True Name also comes out. It doesn't matter, really. What we are trying to do is get a critical mass of attackers piled up there. Other cards that could come out. Tide Chipper is always going to be attacking for 2 here. Hexcatcher is quite good. I'm not sure that Mindspring that we're going to have time to really use him. We do need to get some probably cut some 1-drops. Rishdom Dockhand might be able to lock down, like, if they're playing some of those like uncounterability lands, like Mistrise Village. I think I'm going to take it the Mindspring Merfolk. It's definitely better for like longer games. Then we need to make one more cut. I think I'm going to cut this Hull Breacher, and I'll just do 1 Hull Breacher, because really we just want to get as much stuff out on the table as possible. All right, let's submit. So we're going to have a lower density of Merfolk since we're playing so much counter magic. This does have double Mistcaller and a Force. I'm going to keep this. Now they could play Omniscience instead of playing a creature, but I think they're on Sneak and Show without Omniscience. I think it doesn't make sense from a deck design standpoint to play Omniscience when you can just play creatures. And like I do think Omni Show with like mono blue is good, but I don't think that where you want to be is being split between Omniscience and Sneak Attack. I think there's dysenergy there. Not that I really play either deck. I have played a couple leagues with like mono blue Omni. About as much combo as I could tolerate playing. All right, and we're going to see that these Mistcallers are going to be 2/2 unblockables, essentially, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and just get our uncounterability, get our Mistcaller out. Next turn, we can go ahead and just play the Lord and start beating down unless we draw anything, and we'll hold this second Mistcaller for Force Fodder. Opponent's pondering off their basic island. It's a cool looking basic. I think this is from the Dragon or no. What set is that? I don't know. It's cool. It's like the opposite of an island. All right, Hydroblast. It's a great pickup. I don't think we need it yet. Heaven forbid they're playing like back to basics or something. Like I should play out the island here. So we'll hit for 2. Next turn, I can hold up Hydroblast and a Cavern and probably build the board a little bit more. We just want them dead. Fluster is their main protection spell. Okay, they're not going for it, which is great because I want to have Hydro up. All right, Dockhand is great. That way I can hold the second Mistcaller. I'm going to develop this. Play out our Dockhand. So we have Spell Pierce up. We don't have the ability to pay for Fluster, though, probably. Maybe we do. Okay, 4 damage. They don't use their life total at all as a resource other than, Ancient Tomb. Okay, they're fetching. All right. What is this? A creature in their deck? Or are they going to just blast? So the fact that they're doing this... So I have 2 options. One, I could just Hydro this. That tells me that they do care about this card. And then if they somehow manage to, stop this, instead of forcing it, I can play out a second Mistcaller. But I want to get these 2 damage. Okay, so I'm going to let that go. Now I'll just play an uncounterable one after combat. But that tells me that Mistcaller is good against their deck, which I supposed it would be. I said in the deck tech that I thought it would be a good card against Show and Tell. They're down to 2 cards over there. All right. We drew a Force, which is great. I'm just going to hit him with everything. I'm not going to try to dock him. One more turn cycle if they tap that tomb. They do tap the tomb. Stock up, sure. Ponder. They're spinning their wheels. I don't think there's any way they can win anymore. All right. They may have another Abrade, which I am just going to go ahead and shut down right now. Abrade is not going to be enough to keep you alive, friend. Wait, actually, yeah, it wouldn't anymore. Good game. Okay, cool. So that went exactly how we want this matchup to go. I think we just keep this exact 75. The Hydroblast was great because it baited out the Force. Yeah, this exact 60 card configuration is what I mean. This hand is unkeepable. Unfortunately, you do still get these 1 land. Well, is it unkeepable? We've got a lot of 1-drops here. I think I'm going to take the risk. I know that I kept a 1-lander in game 1, but this is a double Force hand. I'm going to keep this. Opponent mulls to 5, which means our forces are going to be a lot better because they're probably not keeping forces. They try to glass cannon it, we can stop them. They do know that they don't have a lot of time. So the fact that our deck is so aggressive is kind of putting them in a pinch where they have to be proactive. They're looking at a 4-card hand now. So I'll just drop the Tide Shaper here. Maybe we draw a second land. We don't. Tide Shaper's out. 2/2. Stock ups. Do I want this? I'm tempted to just negate it. Just to slow them down. Because they may be looking for land and a spell. Okay, we stopped it. We still have our Force up. We draw a land. I'm happy. We don't. I'm going to drop a Dockhand, and we're just going to keep hitting for 2. It's not impressive, but they are hitting themselves for 2. And then once we draw a Lord mana, Vidolian Hexcatcher is so good with a bunch of weenie mercs. It's just so good. If we can resolve that. Ponder. They may be looking for a land here to develop further so they can have Show and Tell plus the ability to interact with a Flusterstorm. Or they may just go for it. Oh my goodness. Is it reckless to counter this? I mean, we may have Hexcatcher up. I'm going to let it go. By pausing there, I did kind of telegraph to them that I have a Force. The best thing I could draw at this point is probably just another Force. I would like to add more power to the board, but... Well, no, if I draw a land, Vidolian Hexcatcher is just going to be absolutely insane here. The best land would be a Cavern of Souls, so they can't even stop it. That would be insane. I probably actually would force to fight over Vidolian Hexcatcher at this point, because I think it's going to be so good. Come on, land. Oh, yes. Let's do this. I think we just won. Gonna hit him for 5. I will protect her with a Force because she takes a full turn off the clock, maybe 2 turns. They're not dead on board, but if they tap that tomb, they are. And I will sack basically everything to stop a Show and Tell or a... yeah, that's fine. All right, they are passing, and they are basically dead. I can just stick the Lord and then have enough attack power to kill him this turn. So That island doesn't hurt. I will play it out. Blue, blue, Lord of Atlantis. Uncounterable. Good games. Yeah, chill opponent. And I'll hope to see them again in the future. I have absolutely no problem playing against show and tell variants. My only beef with combo is the kind of combo that wins before you even get a turn. I don't like oops all spells, and I don't particularly care for Blue-Black Reanimator because it's just insanely overpowered. Oklahoma land run, big event in the Southwest where I'm based. I'm based in Texas. I actually grew up in Oklahoma City. All the top decks were freaking Reanimator. It was like I think the top 3 or 4 decks were all Blue-Black Reanimator. So I'm hoping we don't face that, but if we face that, we'll be ready. See you in round 2. Round 2, we're up against an unknown opponent. We got a great hand. This opens Tideshaper into Master of the Pearl Trident, into True Name. It doesn't have Force, but I'm going to definitely keep this. We're on the play as well, which we always want to be. Opponent mulligans. Let's go ahead and tell them what we are playing with the very first game action we take. Drop our Tideshaper. All right, and next turn we're going to be hitting them for 2. 3 if they have an island over there. All right. They're playing coy with that island, but I know that there's going to be an island over there soon. All right, let's go ahead and just max damage. I mean, this hand is a very linear hand. We do have Sink into Stupor as interaction here. All right, we pass. Let's see if there's an instep Entomb. Oh, okay. So they're on some sort of... Like, you wouldn't play like this unless you were a combo deck. Like, you wouldn't instep Brainstorm like this without having a shuffle, because you can only put back 1 card if you have a fetch, because you have to draw it. Okay, we're on against Show and Tell again. All right, that's fine. So, unfortunately, the only protection we have against Show and Tell is Sink into Stupor. I don't have high confidence is going to be enough. There's Lotus Petal. Really want to draw Force here. Okay, so options. 1, we just hit him for 5. We pass with Sink into Stupor up, and we don't die. Option 2, we drop the I think that's the only real option. I'm just going to keep attacking him, and I'm going to hold Sink into Stupor up. Let's see. Well, we can think. Because Sink only temporarily deals with whatever it is they play, but they're going to play it out a second turn, and they're not going to be dead. I kind of think we drop the True Name, because True Name hits for 4. It dodges Atraxa. They have to have essentially Show and Tell Emrakul, and even Show and Tell Emrakul. Let's see, we'd hit him for like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I don't have faith that, like, if they get 1 extra turn, if they give us 1 extra turn, then we have Sink. But they're currently dead on board. They're going to be they need to deal damage to themselves. Okay, they're veiling just to draw a card. Interesting. So they are playing green. So the 3-color. True Name Nemesis chooses you. Show and Tell. Okay, I will put in Dockhand, which is Island Walk creature. And now we have, I believe, lethal. We can just sink this back to hand. They're probably going to find a Force. Let's take a look at what they revealed here. I do see a sneak attack. I don't see another way to fire this turn. They choose Ponder, Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, Archon of Cruelty, Sneak Attack. I don't know why they chose the Ancient Tomb over the City of Traders. That seems loose. Archon over Emrakul. Okay, and they scoop. They realized that we had lethal pressure anyway. We didn't even have to show them the sink. Let's think about this. So yeah, we attack for 4. Yeah, we would have lethal, just avoiding Atraxa. Island Walk, it's a beautiful thing. All right, so sideboard is going to be the same as last time. We saw red. Hydroblast come in. We will take out the Harbingers. Again, I don't think she's good enough. Mindspring will come out. And then we need to make 2 more cuts, and I think we take out the True Names. I think we took out all the True Names last time, didn't we? So what are we doing different here? Oh, yeah, I can bring in a Hull Breacher. Yeah, there we go. Let's do it. It is pretty rare to like encounter the same deck back-to-back in Legacy because it is a very diverse meta. Like, of course, at the top tables, it's all Blue-Black Reanimator. But, like, I went to Japan and played, like, so many matches in paper. And like, I don't think I ever faced the same opponent twice in a row. This is a high risk, high reward hand. Double Mistcaller. I don't think we keep it. This is a much better hand. We've got a Mistcaller, which I'm going to play uncounterably immediately. I'll put back a Lord. Hexcatcher is much better. So even if they have the turn 2, we have an answer. If they have turn 1 us, we don't have an answer. And they can turn 1 us. I did get turn 1 by Show and Tell when I was in Japan. Of course, I wasn't on this deck. I was on my blue-black, no reserve list. Yeah, I didn't take a single dual land with me to Japan. It felt amazing. Just like not worrying about my deck box. Having like this $800 deck that like, you know, heaven forbid somebody stole it. Like all that we get is a bunch of beta islands. Okay, so Mistcaller comes in. Double Hexcatcher. This is going to be so juicy. We're just going to keep slamming these things. Fetching. If they are able to remove this Mistcaller, then we don't have protection. Pretty precarious. Wow, they are giving us a lot of Hexcatchers over here. Well, I am going to play it. It's protection. It needs to come out immediately. And we'll hit for 2 and we'll pass. This is going to scale up very quickly, though, as we drop more and more meanies onto the table to bully them. Mistrise Village is very strong, but it won't stop Hexcatcher's ability. Stock up's fine. I'm not going to sacrifice a creature to stop that. I think we need the momentum. They pass priority. We're back to our turn. I definitely like this, but I don't like it enough to not play the Lord. So I think here we do play Lord of Atlantis. And maybe we do want to play the Hexcatcher instead. Yeah, I'm going to play it. Now we're going to hit him for 5. Next turn we have the Lord for unblockability. We can hold that back as a secret. But it is going to be important to be able to fight them on the stack. We can't actually fight them on the stack if they have enough mana. But they don't currently have enough mana to do anything big. They would need a Petal or an Ancient Tomb, which they didn't play out this turn. They played out a different land. So Mistrise is most likely not going to work here. This could be like a Pyroclasm type effect. So I'm going to counter this. And I'll keep one of my Merfolk. I'll keep the Mistcaller. Alright, and now they can pay the mana. They do. So now we'll just do it again. There's like a confirmation. Are you sure you want to sacrifice this to its own ability? Thank you for your sacrifices, my Vidolian Hexcatcher sisters. Alright, we still got our Mistcaller. We don't have is a lot of pressure, but we did draw a Force, which is great. I am going to go ahead and just drop this again. We have double protection up. Now, note that if they have mana, we don't have protection anymore. We are keeping the pressure going. They do use their life total as a resource for Force of Will and for Ancient Tomb. So it's not meaningless what we're doing. Okay, now they have Mistrise into Show and Tell. So we are going to have to sacrifice our Mistcaller when they put the Show and Tell on the stack. Fetching to 8. They are not yet dead on board. All right, they're using the ability. All right, this is Show and Tell. All right, well, I'm going to sacrifice this. I'm going to assume they have Omniscience if they're doing this. All right, I will not put a permanent in because it would just be exiled. They have Sneak Attack. Okay. All right, we can Hydro. They are basically tapped out. This is great because we can Hydro and we can get some additional pressure. We can cast this. It's got to be devastating. They worked really hard to get that into play. They are pitching to Hellbent. We're forcing it, and that is the ball game, folks. Good games. 2-0. We're 2-0. We lost one game to the previous Show and Tell, but we did not lose a game here. This deck feels very strong against Show and Tell with the Mistcallers. See you in round 3. All right. We're up against a freaking Oops player, of course. It was inevitable that it would happen. Mistcaller being good if you get a turn, but us being unlikely to get a turn here. They did keep 7. Maybe they switched off Oops. This hand is otherwise totally defensible. We'll soon know whether they're on Oops and whether we need to mold to a Force for game 2. Cavern, okay. Human, oh. Are you on freaking creatures? They were playing mono white, kind of like aggro previously, which is a really cool deck that I have no problem playing against. I really enjoy those kinds of decks, even though it has the broken initiative mechanic. So that is most likely what they're on here. We don't have, if they have Chalice, we're in trouble because we have a lot of 1-drops. I think it is good to potentially screw up their mana base So I'm just going to lead with the dockhand. Maybe, who knows, maybe we can color screw them. Maybe they'll have an Ancient Tomb, we can keep them off white mana. One thing I'm not afraid of is Archon of Emeria. Normally that card is terrifying, but we have tons of basic lands that just ignore her. City. Boromir, very cool card. 3/3 Vigilance. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spelled... Okay. Sacrifice, creatures gain indestructible till end of turn, and you get tempted by the ring. Very cool card. I love this type of card design, where it's just like a really powerful creature with tons of utility. The kind of stuff that you just can't play in Legacy anymore because everybody's playing nonsense. But we actually... So we could tap this down. If we tap this down, they may not have a second White Source. We don't have... I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn this into an island. Yeah, I think that's the play here. And then next turn, we can scale up our damage. So I will pass up on the opportunity to attack them here. But I wasn't going to get Allen Walk anyway. So we'll cast with Kicker. All right. And then this land will probably go away. Next turn, we can... I mean, this has Vigilance, so they should just attack. I'm not going to be like sacking 2 creatures to stop it. But we should be able to erase it. Because the Vigilance isn't going to matter. Everything we're going to have is going to have Island Walk pretty soon. Okay, Karakas. Very cool. So now they can defend Boromir. Please introduce the initiative. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for introducing the initiative. I may be eating my words in a minute, but my goodness, that is going to be so cool. Just like hitting them really freaking hard with Island Walk every turn and taking the initiative back. We could even potentially bounce something key back to their hand. They got a Plains that they can't play out because they already played the Karakas. They need... What they really need is like a Solitude or something where they can do a lot of damage quickly. I'll let that through. We're at 20 life. We're not going to be losing any life to things that we do. Mind Spring is great. I am going to just play out the Master and the Mind Spring here. So if they have a Solitude, they actually just win here because we're going to lose everything. Basically, they'll strip the Island Walk off of... Well, they won't strip it off the dockhand. We'll still get the initiative. Yeah, they actually, it won't actually be that devastating. It will suck, though. But we will get the initiative here. So we will get an extra land. I don't see a Solitude. We'll take that. Yoink. We'll get our basic island, which we can play out next turn, so we can double spell, potentially. Or so we can just Mind Spring for like 1,000,000. Not 1,000,000. We'll get 2 cards, but we'll also get 2+1/+1 counters on every card. Like, they're basically dead on board. Which is crazy, but I think it's true. I haven't done the math. I know the whole theme of this deck is doing math, but I'm really a lazy person when it comes to doing combat math. I'll do the math when we need to, like, when it's actually going to be tactically useful. I'm going to save my mental energy here. Sheltered by Ghosts. Enchanter creature, okay. And exile target non-land permanent. Okay, so they're going to exile probably our Master. They're exiling that. They get their land back. We don't have island. They don't have an island anymore. That's pretty powerful. They do have that Vigilant creature. I mean, we can take the initiative with Rishodon Dockhand. But yeah, that was a powerful play. However, if I just bounce that back to hand with Sink into Stupor, then the Sheltered by Ghost goes away. I get my dude back. So we're taking 8 here, which is a 6, a large chunk. They can forge. Next turn, they'll trap. I think we're actually dead on board now. We're very much dead on board because of trap. Okay, so they get the initiative back. But Boromir is strong, but he's not unblockable. So what we'll do, let's see. If they forge here, that's fine. Again, that's going to go back to their hand. Okay, Tideshaper is good because, well, we need to bounce this back to hand, so it's not good enough. Let's think about this. Okay, let's think about this. So, we could drop the Mistcaller. Then we still have Tideshaper up for the kicker next turn for the Alpha Strike. I like that. This gets pro creature. We wait till the attack step. Yeah. So I'm going to play on my island. Play out my Tideshaper. No, wait, not Tideshaper. We decided that's not going to be the one we play out. Let's think about this. We could pay 2. They're at 20. We have to deal with this Seasoned Engineer. It has to be bounced back to hand or we die. This ability has to be played as a sorcery. Wait. No, you can do it at instant speed. That's kind of cool. But it doesn't matter. We're not going to do it. So I'm going to play Mistcaller here. Oh, damn. Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, I don't think we can win. Because I can't take the initiative from him. I could, but it'd be at a high cost. Like, I'd have to attack with both of these just to get the initiative. I don't think it's worth it. I think what we do... Well, no, because they're going to trap us. Then they'll be able to take the initiative again when they recast this, which they probably will be able to. But, I mean... We're dead if we don't. I could just chump with this when they attack. Or chump with this. Yeah, actually, I think I do a double attack to try to take the initiative from them. Because I don't want them to have the initiative for 2 turns in a row. So we'll just come in like this. So they're going to block and kill one of our creatures. Okay. So we deal 2 damage to them. We get the initiative. I'm going to bulk up this master because then he can kill Boromir in combat. All right. Okay, so I have to go ahead and do this now, unfortunately. Otherwise, because Voice of Victory will stop us. Oh, wait, it has Ward 2? How did it get Ward 2? Good game. I totally didn't see that it had Ward 2. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Sheltered by Ghost gives them Ward 2 as well. Man, that card is cracked. This is a really good card. All right. I saw it for the first time a few weeks ago, and it just didn't register how good it was. So I think Harbinger actually is really good here because they're playing like a total jank mana base, even though they're like mono white. Like shutting off, turning those things to islands is not bad at all. Mistcaller can come out. It's just mediocre. I don't think there are any other substitutions we make here. We did just increase our curve. Yeah, that Ward 2, man. Okay, so this is 2 mana. Yeah, I mean, this hand is freaking cracked. It's got a force. I'm going to keep it. We don't have a turn 1 play. I'll just play this out tapped. The rare no turn 1 play. I think we're like 90% to... And you can check the video description where I've added all the statistics that I use to compose this deck. But I think we're like 90+% for having a 1-drop. All right, I am going to go ahead and just value my life total as a resource and play this tapped. I don't believe they have Wasteland. We will see. My intention is to just start playing Lords. Hexcatcher doesn't really matter. Chrome Mox. Please don't... Oh, actually, please do Chalice me. This is like the one time when I'd be happy to see a Chalice. Another Mox. Okay, so they're going to have a pretty explosive start there. Luckily, we have a huge variety of cards in our hand. So if this is like the Vigilance guy, what is his name? Not Boromir, but there's another guy that's really good. I'll read the name when it comes up. Yeah, Anointed Peacekeeper, that's it. Yeah, like, they don't... Like, we can't counter this, but they can name one of these cards. I'm not sure what they name. Harbinger actually doesn't do that much here. Is probably going to be my pitch to force. I just want to scale up my Lords. They'll probably name, like, Lord of Atlantis or something like that. Yeah, this force is pretty terrible, but it would stop, like, a Shelter to Ghost. I'll force whatever they give me the option of forcing. Especially knowing Boromir is in the deck. But I don't think you take Force of Will out, just in case like you get an opportunity to stop something. They're not always going to have Cavernous Souls, even though they did have it in both of these games. Okay, named Harbinger of the Seas. That is totally fine with me. All right, another Force. Not the best draw, but we do have Chaff that we can pitch to it. If I play the Master out, then technically I'm hitting for 1 extra damage, which may be consequential, over the Vidolian Hexcatcher. I think the scary things that their deck is going to do, especially with just 1 card in hand, is going to be limited to initiative creatures. And there's only 1 white initiative creature. Solitude would be annoying here, but we would force it. So this is going to be the initiative creature, unfortunately. All right. And there's nothing I can do about that because of Caverns. So I think we probably just lost this game, but I'm going to keep playing. And I don't mind losing to these types of decks. This deck just gets destroyed by the meta. And you're going to face this kind of deck and you're like, oh, do I need to adapt my deck? You don't need to adapt your deck to fight this deck. Like, it's not that common. Yeah, you just have to trust that the toxic combo meta will gradually force decks like this into you know, relative rarity and that you won't face them too often. So we're going to take the 4 here. Unfortunately, like, we don't really have any counterplay here. I actually think that the one that makes a land into an island is the best draw here, so we can take the initiative. Sinking to Stupor. I mean, that would be something we could cast, but it's not going to help here. I do want to hold it. Just let's think about this. So, and by the way, like, if you're thinking, why didn't you force one of the Moxes? In my humble opinion, you just never force a Mox. They're 2-for-1ing themselves. Why would you 2-for-1 yourself? Yeah, with the benefit of hindsight, maybe it's like, oh, if you just forced one of the Moxes, you would be totally fine here. But I think that situations like that are pretty rare, and almost always they'll just find another land, and yeah. Let's think about potential ways to victory here. They've got a 4/4 blocker that's going to stop us from ever taking the initiative. They've got an unblockable creature that just gets bigger and bigger while giving them card advantage. The Seasoned Dungeoneer is a huge, huge card. I mean, we could sink it back into hand. They could easily recast it. They've got tons of mana now. They've got a land in hand, but they've got the win on the table just in terms of pressuring us. We could just drop another Master and scale up. I think that's really all we can do here. I don't think sinking the Stupor is going to be of consequence in this game. Maybe it is. So maybe I'm loath to... Harbinger is currently kind of needled. So, I mean, that would be certainly a playable card here. I don't think it'd be great, but it would... Oh, actually it is good because it gives us Island Walk. But I can just give... Oh, wait. I just give my other Merfolk... No, they don't have an island. Never mind. I was getting all excited. No, we have to get them an island first. So I think what we do here is we just play out the Master. Gosh, we're never going to be able to sink and pay for the ward on Sheltered by Ghosts. So I do kind of think we just play this out. We draw a True Name. True Name would... No, wait. I took all the True Names out, didn't I? Actually, I left all the True Names in. They're in there. But it wouldn't be good enough. And unfortunately, because this can't be blocked. It would be able to take the initiative back and forth, but we're going to die before that would be relevant. I'm going to play this tapped, and I'm going to pass. I do think we're the better aggro deck, for the record, but we're getting destroyed here. So they're going to forge. Yep. Boromir. This shuts off my forces. I think we can call it. I'm trying to think, like, okay. All right, like, we double block here. They just can make him stay alive forever. Actually, we double block and we lose both, don't we? Because no, they have to do 3 and 1. Yeah. And then we have Island Walk, but we're so low in life. Okay, so they gave the protection to Seasoned Engineer, protection for creatures. They can give it to an Oni Peacekeeper if they want. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Now they're going to kill one of them. We can play Harbinger, and we have Island Walk, and we can attack. So they give Indestructible. Okay, yeah. I don't think we win anymore. Like, sorry. I keep almost conceding. Yeah, we're going to lose a dude. We are going to be able to take the initiative, but we're taking 5+. Next turn we get trapped 5. We're effectively at 1. That's with this Valiant chump block. Okay, Island, not the worst. We do technically have Force Up. So I take the initiative. Next turn, I could play a Hexcatcher and like a True Name or something like that. They're going to hit us. Yeah, we have to chump to be at 1. And that assumes that they don't explore into something that is lethal. I'm going to try it. No guts, no glory. Let's just play this out. Oh, wait. It still costs more because I didn't kill that thing. I planned on killing that thing and then they Boromir'd. All right, whatever. Sorry for wasting your time there with my mediocre play. Yeah, I mean, like, I'd be stunned if anybody could convert that matchup into a win with the cards we were given. Maybe we should have mulligan. Maybe forcing the Mox is just like the next level play. I'm not going to overthink it. I'll see you in the next round. All right, we're up against a fan of the channel in round 4. We are 2-1, losing only to mono white initiative. Opponent, who knows what they're on? They've played some Delver in the past. They've played some really cool brews, actually. I was looking through their history. This hand's fine. I'm going to keep it. Doesn't have a force. All right, Catacombs. Basic Swamp. Ritual. Oh, are they on aggro? Is this going to be an aggro on aggro matchup? Dark Confidant. Love it. Thoughtseize? You should have thought. Oh, they're just burning it off. Well, that is actually like a really good play for them because we do not have much in the way of being able to get this out of play with our deck. So they're just going to be drawing extra cards every turn, unfortunately. But they are going to hopefully be doing a little bit of damage to themselves. I think there's a decent chance they have a Wasteland and we might be turning it on. I don't think we're going to get forced. So I'm going to go ahead and just play out this dock hand just in case they have like a Bowmaster. I think we can play Mindspring out later. I will happily trade my dock hand for a Confidant if they come across. Witherbloom Apprentice. Okay, so they have the combo in this deck. That is scary. So Hexcatcher is going to need to come in. They're not attacking. Okay, they're planning to win off the combo. Sinking to Stupor is really good. I'm going to play this out. I'm not going to show them the Caverns. We could just upkeep, lock that down, try to get a turn. We need to get rid of this. I think it's more important to play the Hexcatcher. I'm just going to chill. Would they throw anything in front of this? The game doesn't get better the longer we wait, for sure. But if we can get them to unload their hand, and then we like sink it into their hand, sink the Witherbloom back, that could work. I'm just going to hope that they're... Yeah, I'm just going to chill. See what they flip. Swamp. Okay. So Hexcatcher is not going to do it anymore if they have the Chain of Smog. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. Do you have a Fatal Push? This doesn't have Death Touch, does it? Okay. That was very lucky. Necro. All right. We're going to get drained life a lot, I think. This is like a fair Necrodominance deck. This is like what I think they meant when they printed Necrodominance, for mono black decks to be using it like this. Okay, so they didn't even use the ability. Interesting. So my instinct is to keep Sinking to Stupor up. All right, let's think about this. We keep Sinking to Stupor up, and we're not really advancing the game. We're attacking for 2. Do we want to just bounce this back to their hand, skip your draw at the beginning of your end step? So we put end second main. Then they could just recast it. Do we even want to put it back in their hand? Part of me just wants to jam this True Name just to apply additional pressure. I think it's unlikely they're going to be able to kill us. Let's go ahead and attack. Just hit for 2. I could have bounced this back to hand. I don't think that's the play. It's hard to know. I mean, my instinct is to just add to the board. Next turn, we have a giant Mindspring if they don't kill us immediately. And I don't know how they do. All right. So we do have interaction in the form of being able to sacrifice creatures to this. Trawler. That doesn't affect us. We literally don't have a graveyard. I think this is the first time I've ever been this far into a game without a graveyard. Okay. Sheoldred. She's strong. Wait, can they gain infinite life? Draw, gain 2 life. Yeah, they can only gain like 7 life, or they gain a ton of life here. So they're going to gain, like, they're going to go to 0, but then they draw, or I don't know if they can actually go to 0, but they're going to draw like 7 cards here. Okay, and they gain a ton of life. Yeah, this is powerful for sure. So next time, like if I had the mana up, I could have waited for them to do that, and then, well, no, it's an ability. They can choose how much to draw. So now they have like tons of cards. They have to clean up down to 5. Do they want to like do that Soul Spike thing against me? Okay, so if we draw a card here, we lose life. If we bounce Sheoldred to hand, they can just replay it next turn. I think we need to wait and bounce Sheoldred at the end step when this triggers on the stack. Yeah, it sucks, but I think that's the path forward. So we'll draw. We'll take a damage. I am going to go ahead and just play this out, and I'll Mindspring. Now I'll just attack with True Name because he can get through for sure. Now we pass. I don't think they're playing the Soul Spike combo if they're playing Dark Confidant, because it does so much damage to you if you accidentally reveal it. Okay, Chain of Smog. So now they have the combo if they also have a Witherbloom Apprentice, which I would not be surprised by at all. But if we can get them to discard their whole hand and then hit Witherbloom, they can still just refill their hand, though. Here comes Witherbloom. Okay. They're casting Reanimate, targeting another Witherbloom. Okay, so this does stop us from being able to stop them from winning. They already revealed Chain of Smog. We can counter Chain of Smog by sacrificing one of our creatures. Okay, so the first pings happen. They are targeting us. Not a big surprise here. I am going to do this. I think I bounce this back to hand. Now we do have to sacrifice a creature. Oh, wait, they're just targeting us? We can just let this through. We don't have to actually sacrifice anything. Yeah, we'll just discard our islands. These are not super relevant. I'm not going to fire back at them because then they get like tons of... They can just kill us. So they may have a second Chain of Smog. And we're not going to be able to stop that because it's going to cost a fortune to stop it. Sheoldred is gone. Can we Alpha Strike? If we rip... Let's think about this. This is such an interesting game. My brain is like on fire over here. Okay, Necro. They just choose not to get any cards, which is a good precaution. Okay, can we rip a Lord? This color doesn't do anything. So, let's see. We make these really big. Let's see. Maybe rip something relevant. I do think we do this. We get 2 cards. We're definitely going to hit them for 4. But we need to get a force for Sheoldred, because Sheoldred will come back down. Yeah, I'm just going to max the odds. Okay, we got Harbinger, which doesn't do it. Sheoldred comes back out and wins. I think we just attack with everything, and there are going to be a few force blocks here, but it's probably not going to be enough. Do we want to attack with Hexcatcher? They don't have enough life to pay to draw a lot of cards with Sheoldred. I'm going to come in with this. I just want to max damage. I know that they're going to, like... Oh, wow. Yeah, that's fine. They're, like, throwing everything under the bus there. That's fine. Well, they still have 1. Okay. We got them down to 5. So even if they rip Sheoldred, they're only going to be able to gain... They're going to go up to 9 life? Okay. Oh, they had the combo. Okay, good game. All right. So, yeah, that was a cool game. All right. So how do we sideboard against this deck? Not sure that we do anything. I mean, Hull Breacher does shut off them drawing cards. I don't think Force Negation belongs. I don't think Harbinger is particularly strong here. So we can... That's a pretty simple substitution. I think that's it. Sink into Stupor is very good here. Like, it definitely saved our bacon for the first half of that game. But they just got so many cards. Like, they did kind of luck into... I mean, they saw a lot of cards, but finding the second sink was definitely... I think there might have been a way that we could have won had they not found the second sink. Or, Sink into Stupor. Not Sink into Stupor. What is it? Chain of Smog. That's it. Okay. This hand's fine. Doesn't have a force. It does have a lot of pressure. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to hope that they don't have, like... It's not like they're playing, like, cantrips to find their combo. They might have to aggressively mulligan, or they might try to just go toe-to-toe with me, like, card quality-wise. I don't want to risk getting wasted before I can get my second creature down, so I'm just going to play like this. Dockhand, or Hexcatcher will be the play next turn, I think, just to reduce the likelihood of shenanigans over there. Thoughtseize is fine. They're going to take True Name probably, just because it's like, how do you deal with it if I get it out? Maybe they take Hexcatcher. But I'm always happy to see Thoughtseize when I'm playing an aggro deck. They took the Hexcatcher. Okay, so I'll just play the Master. We found our land. I'm not going to show them that we found that land. We'll go ahead and just get this out so we can scale up our damage. Just pressing damage. That's our plan here. Especially now that they took the Hexcatcher, we have even less to think about. Dark Writ? They would have Dark Writted last turn, probably. Fatal Push. Okay, that's fine. And they don't have a second land drop. That's very good for us. Okay, we just ripped another land. I could lock this down. I think I just want to get the True Name down. And we just want to outrun... They probably kept the combo. That's a reason why you keep a hand like that, is you have the combo in it. So if they find land, maybe they can get the combo out. Like, okay, Dark Confidant. Interesting. I think it probably is worth tapping down a land here. Because they clearly only have... Yeah, I mean... So I'll just wait till their upkeep. And I will tap down one of their lands. The rare usage of Rishadan Dockhand's ability, but it is a good ability here. So let's go ahead and just tap it down immediately. And next turn, we'll be able to tap down both their lands while we beat them with True Name. Destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. Okay, that's an interesting card. I haven't seen that. So they lose 2 life there. That's great for us. Okay, so they were able to make effective use of the mana. They found a Dark Writ, which is very strong. But if we can tap down their mana, they won't be able to do it. They need an actual mana source. Well, I mean, they could Dark Writ and then... Yeah, and interestingly, they're attacking us. I'm not sure about that play. I do think we develop our mana, especially knowing that they can make us discard stuff. Let's play this out. I am going to tap down their mana again. They're on a 2-turn clock, but they might be on a 2-turn clock anyway because of Dark Confidant. And I do value at least some interaction here. Okay, they're at 1, so they're dead. Even with a Dark Writ and a Sheoldred, I don't know how they would survive. Okay, cool. True Name carrying us there. Super chill card. All right, no changes. Let's do it. I mean, that game we got totally flooded, but it was okay because we had True Name beating it down. This is another risky keep. I don't want to risk it, frankly, especially on the draw. I mean, my never mulligan philosophy for this deck only goes so far. It's like sometimes I see Bosch and Roll throw back an Island Punter keep. I have seen that before. This is a terrible hand. My goodness. Okay, we're getting some bad rips here. I think we mulligan again. Do we? Yeah, I can't have a 5-lander. Even a 4-lander after putting a land back. It seems super duper weak. This doesn't interact with anything. This is fine. This is the best hand we've seen by far. So I'll put back a land, and I will put back True Name. I know that sucks to put him back, but we may never see land number 3, and we do want to beat face. Like, our plan is very simple. Beat face. And if that doesn't work, we will be dead. Our opponent is clearly playing lots of cards that use their mana base, or like use their life as a resource. Thoughtseize, no problem. So this is where our True Name would have been taken even if we had kept it. We did get lucky and drew the land, though. All right, hopefully we don't draw any more lands. All right, that's fine. I'm not going to complain about that. Okay, they're fetching. Swamp. Vendetta on our creature, that's fine. So we got the important creature in. I don't think... we actually did see a reanimate. So we could have like potentially countered a reanimate, but they don't have any reanimation targets in their yard currently. They're passing. If Sheoldred comes down, she completely flips the script here. I'm just going to unload my hand, knowing that they have reanimation style effects. They could have like something that jumps in and blocks this. I need to keep the pressure up. Abrupt Decay, that's fine. All right. Cool card. All right, so hopefully they don't discard me here. Okay, we've got like nothing going on. They've got 4 cards in hand. Come on, something good. That's good. I was going to go to combat. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play it. Jig is up. This is slightly less power, but at least we have some interaction now, in case they put some must counter spell on the stack. 4 mana, Sheoldred. Reanimating our Merfolk. That's actually the right one, because that doesn't give us... like, had they reanimated the other one? What is this? Necrodominance? Well, I definitely want to counter that. So let's just counter it, sacrificing our own Vidolian Hexcatcher. She will sacrifice herself to stop this. Okay. And now we can easily overpower that with our current hand. Oh, that's a great draw. Most definitely a great draw. All right. And now I think they're in trouble. We've got 2 cards left in hand, but Sheoldred would still wreck us. Wait, it's a 3/3? Oh, because my lord, I'm a dumbass. Sorry for saying ass on the channel. I'm not supposed to say any words. That I will defend by saying ass is in the Bible, and that's my rule. If it's in the Bible, I can say it on the stream. Okay, so let's go in here. All right. So yeah, I just totally punted there, playing out the Lord. Like it. Actually, it wouldn't have mattered. They would have been 2/2s instead of 3/3s. Okay, so I'm just gonna come in for a hug here with both of these things. Keep the beats coming. And we'll see if we're dead. We have laid our cards on the table. Have lain? I think it's have lain our cards on the table. Lay is one of those really weird words. Lie. Lay transitive. Putting something down on the table. Okay. Let's see. Okay, reanimating again. I don't know how this is a winning strategy, but it is technically the biggest creature on the table until we Mind Spring next turn. before our Alpha Strike. Get some cards in our grip. Okay, so we could just bounce this to our hand, actually. I think that's actually the play. And then we Alpha Strike them. Yeah, that's game. And their deck just failed to like pull together their combo there. But I do feel like they played pretty well. They've got some really spicy choices, which I love. Keep the spice coming. Devious Penguin 666. That does have an impact. That's still death, though. Good games. All right, let's go to final round. Final round, we're up against Black Lotus Knight. Most recently seen on Blue-Black Reanimator. I'm going to keep this hand. This hand has a beautiful curve, which is precisely what we're seeking with this deck, is just having hands that curve out perfectly. So it's not perfect in the sense that, you know, if they're on Blue-Black Reanimator, they're going to have islands, so this kicker is not going to be worth casting. We are on the play, so we can potentially Hexcatcher and then use that to stop like an Instep Entomb if they go for it. Harbinger, like this hand doesn't have any force in it, but like it just addresses a lot of potential challenges. Snow-covered swamp into Thoughtseize. Sure. So they're playing defensively here, or potentially offensively. They took our Hexcatcher, which tells me they may be on like a storm strategy or something that cares about those types of spells, or they just didn't want us to be able to cast anything, which is also what happened this turn. Our beautiful curve was destroyed with a single Thoughtseize. A very powerful card. But yeah, we'll just chip away at their life a little bit. See if they entomb us here. Unfortunately, we missed an opportunity to be able to cast something without worrying about days. Okay, they're going to take the True Name here, I presume. We will be able to Harbinger, which will buff our Tideshaper. Oh, they took the Harbinger. That's a surprise. If they're fetching, they're going to get an island. Underground Sea. Ponder. Okay. So I do think that they're on Blue-Black Reanimator still. We can hit them for 2. We can walk into a Daze, which I think is why, I don't know. Do we want to walk into a Daze? We won't if we rip a Cavern. If we have an option to play anything else, I probably won't play the True Name. Just out of respect for Daze here. Okay, Mistcaller is actually great. Low-key awesome, as the kids say. Or I don't know if they use that awesome. Low-key baller. I don't know what people say these days. Let's come in for 2. And again, we're just respecting the Daze. They may not have it. Mistcaller is our powerful card against Reanimator. Barrow. If it's Barrow. Oh, it's Merc. Yeah, we can race Merc. It's a 6/6, but we can race it. They have to turn it sideways. This is a great rip. I'm just going to go for it. I know that we could play out the True Name. Let's see. We get 5 damage on them immediately. They're pretty low. Unless they have Snuff Out exactly. I'm going to go for it. Yeah, we still have the True Name waiting in the wings to finish them off. Like Blue-Black, not famous for their life gain ability. Okay, they fetch down to 6. They're dead on board. Basically, if they attack, if they can remove our Master, that's good for them. Under City Sewer, Survey says, or I should say Surveil says, Tommy, I am increasingly convinced that like my statement of like, you know, both Tommy and Frog are going to be banned within 18 months when Modern Horizons 3 came out. I'm increasingly convinced that maybe Tommy will never get banned because even though she's way overpowered, yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, so Dockhand. I mean, I could just double spell here. I am going to go in for the hug here before I do anything. Bowmasters could wreck me for sure. Okay. They blocked the one that is blockable. Now we're going to go like this and make a creature that they're going to have to force, which they can't force because they don't have the life. And then I'm going to drop the Dockhand. All right. And I think this is the game. Like, I don't know how they get out of this now that we have Mistcaller. Wasteland. Like, yeah, they can't make Murktide big enough. They don't have a big enough graveyard. They're going to go ahead and create the clue anyway, just in a desperate attempt to survive our onslaught. We have native Island Walk. They can't deal with that. Brainstorm. Tommy flips. That is not super consequential in the face of True Name. They scoop. All right. I don't know that we make any changes. We didn't see a reanimation effect. Oh, yeah, Harbinger comes out for sure. So Harbinger can easily be replaced with Hull Breacher. I don't think that's a controversial substitution. Yeah, I don't want to bring in Cage. I'm going to live dangerously here. They could just be on blue-black tempo, like fair. I didn't see any card that is only in blue-black Reanimator that's not in blue-black tempo. So I'm going to continue to hold out hope that Black Lotus Knight did not just, join the crowd and do what all the spikes are doing and play blue-black Reanimator, which is what you should do if you're going to Eternal Weekend. I hate to say it, but I'm not going to go to Eternal Weekend this year. I just don't want to play against blue-black Reanimator the entire time. I'm just going to have fun playing leagues online and recording them for you all. I genuinely wanted to go, but and there are decks that I think that could be really good against blue-black Reanimator, but if I metagame too hard against those, I'm just going to lose in the early tables before we get to the top tables. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to Eternal Weekend, and it's because of blue-black Reanimator, 100%. It's because of the ban decision. I don't want you to think I'm like a whiner or anything, but I'm not obligated to spend $1,200 getting a hotel and a flight and all that stuff to go out there. All right, so I think the simple thing to do is just jam the Dockhand because it has toughness, and I'll do it off a Cavern. This cannot be, heaven forbid they are actually on Reanimator, then they're going to have, or I'm sorry, if they're on blue-black tempo, they're going to be playing a bunch of Bowmasters. Reanimator doesn't play Bowmaster because Bowmaster isn't good enough for Reanimator. All right. Yeah, they are on this, unfortunately. So this is where the game ends, unfortunately. Good game. Whatever. All right. So now that we know what they're on, let's see if we can win in the final round. Okay. So cages do come in. I think it's a mistake not to bring them in here. I think we can take out the forces. That may seem cavalier, but it doesn't do a lot, and we just want to apply a ton of pressure. Maybe we have sync. Yeah. I mean, we can't stop the turn, effectively, before our second turn being dead, losing the game. We can't win those types of games. Oh. Is there anything to cut? No, I think we just want to go super aggro, and we have 7 ways of locking their combo off from them. Let's hope it's enough. I should have taken out the... I should have kept the... Oh, miscolors. Yeah, these are good. Okay, we'll keep this. So I should have kept the 2 of the forces in and just taken out the Hull Breacher. So miscolor comes in immediately. All right, and that's just result. So now, once the second one hits, assuming they don't have... a lot of times they'll play engineered explosives or something like that. Yeah, this is the other side of the deck that is untenable. Okay, so I think what we do here, we could master and hit them for 2. No, they're just going to block. We don't have Island Walk. I think I'm going to do another miscolor, and I'm going to hope they don't have engineered explosives. Then I'm going to also do a Rishodon Dockhand. I could do Mindspring Merfolk instead. The reason I'm doing this is I don't want to get dazed on my Hexcatcher, because I think that might be an important card. I'm going to do the Mindspring, because there is a possibility that it's helpful. There's no benefit to attacking. Yeah, I'll just pass. Okay, they're coming in for a hug. Creating a Tommy token. Brainstorm here. Everything is going exactly as they want it to, basically, aside from the fact that they're staring down a little bit of power. We do not even have the power to kill Tommy with one of these Hexcatchers out. Best draw is a Cavern of Souls. I feel pretty confident that one of my lords is going to get dazed here, and we're just going to be sitting here doing nothing. So I do think we need to do something here. There's the force. It's better than a daze. No point in attacking. We chill. So now if Hexcatcher doesn't resolve, then they're going to be able to go to half their deck land. They're surveilling here. So we did shut down their plan A pretty effectively, but their plan B is going to kill us. Also, yeah, there's the Entomb in the yard. So I think they don't have engineered explosives, or they probably would have held on to that. So we did shut off effectively 10 cards in their deck. The monsters, the Entombs, the Reanimates. But it's not going to be enough because Tommy by herself can solo. They've got a Clue activation, so they could potentially find a Daze, but they didn't seem to have Daze last time. So there is a chance that we can keep Tommy managed. We would need another land to Mindspring. Okay, I have no idea what this card is going to be. Oh, it's just a Bowmasters. That will protect Tommy. Nothing I'm going to do here. And not that I would activate with Bowmasters anyway. Yeah, Tommy is going to be able to go all the way, I think. If they have any sort of interaction for my Hexcatcher. Hull Breacher doesn't help. Hexcatcher. Entomb's fine. Okay, they just entombed an Entomb, which is great. Great news. It means they don't have a plan for our miscolors. We will attack all at Tamiyo. And now, Tommy is going to be in stasis unless they have like another wave of blockers. They get double block here. They're choosing to just take the loyalty, which is great for us. Okay. We do have Hull Breacher, which does stop Tommy from ultimating. Okay, they're Tommy plussing again. Just keeping us in stasis. I don't know what their like end game plan is, but I assume Baragoy for Merc is how they win. Sure enough, Merc's coming out. Okay, he's big. He's large and in charge, as they say. We're on a 2-turn clock, effectively. They should attack with the Bowmasters just to get the combat damage in. They should attack with both. Yeah, I'm going to let that through. So, best draw now is Lord of Atlantis, so we can hit Tommy. Force doesn't do anything. Drop some dockhands here. I don't think we're going to win anymore. We can't really attack Tommy without losing something. I don't want to try to Alpha Striker. If we draw a land, we might be able to Hull Breacher Tommy, which would be insane. I don't think that's likely to happen. I think what is more likely to happen is we die to Merc. But if we drew the dude, Thoughtseize, yeah, you're welcome to do that. Again, like a Lord of Atlantis would just completely open this up for us because we would be able to do quite a bit of damage. And we'd be able to do it in a hexproof way, or a island walk way. Okay, they go up to 8. They did take our Hull Breacher. So this next draw is really going to tell the tale of whether we can do anything. I don't think we're going to get a chance after that. And I do think that like our deck is really well set up to beat the deck, but their deck is just fundamentally overpowered. Yeah, I mean, I just need to stop this. They, you lose life. Okay, so they still lose the 3 life. Okay, there's the island that we've been waiting for, but I don't think it's going to come in time. Let's see. They can attack us for 10. We have to attack Tommy here. I'm just going to attack her with all of them. Well, wait, I can't attack with the miscolor. So I'll attack like that. She'll go down to 1 loyalty. Or, she'll go down to 6 loyalty. This is Island Walk. So we're keeping Tamiyo in stasis as we take hits from Merc. The one thing we could draw here that would be a reprieve at all would be a Sink into Stupor, which could put the Merc back in their hand for like basically 1 turn. But we're going to die the subsequent turn. If they draw another Merc, they can just kill us immediately, basically. Not immediately, but yeah. They would force us to make an unfavorable block. They could have minus to get like a Thoughtseize back there if they wanted to. Ponder. Okay. Sorry for the unexciting end to the match, just facing the obvious top deck. Like I read on Twitter, and again, I hope this doesn't come across as salty. Some guy was like, hey, I went 8-2 with this deck at like, I think it was like Impact Returns or something, and I'd never even played the deck before. I'd never even played UB Reanimator before, and I went 8-2 with it. Yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, so, and maybe he was just a good player. I think more likely, though, the deck is just, it checks like literally every box. It's one of the most powerful legacy decks ever. All right, so let's take a look at the list. We did get some no-landers there, or some one-landers, one of which I kept and then I lost. So I think my math is fine. But I do think that there is a risk of being too confident in the fact that you're not going to have to mulligan. Like there was one where I mulliganed twice and I believe we won that game. We had like a really strong hand after we mulliganed twice. So don't be afraid to mulligan this, but really you shouldn't be mulliganing a lot. It's unfortunate that having 4 miscolors plus 3 Grafdigger's Cage in your deck, game 3, and you still lose. That was unfortunate. I don't know what to say about that. Like, it sucks. But just be aware that there are giant flying Merchantides that can still kill you, even if you sink into Stupor. Just be aware that there are Tamiyos that can keep ticking up. But I think this is like probably a 50-50 matchup after a board. Maybe it's like a 45-55 matchup against Blue-Black Reanimator. I don't think it's like a horrible matchup. We have plenty of tools. And we have native, like the advantage of Island Walk. I love the deck construction. I think 3 is the correct number of true names. I think 2 is the correct number of harbingers. I still haven't really seen Hull Breacher do anything. I assume it's good against one ring decks, but do you really care about one rings? You know, it's possible that maybe you want to like cut this and just do this. Like, I know it sounds lame, but maybe you do. Because I mean, this is the top deck, right? Everybody's going to be playing that deck. So if you take this to Eternal Weekend, consider, you know, the 4th Grafdigger's Cage, I guess. It doesn't seem good though. I feel like we totally had the sideboard covered and we just died to other stuff. You could also consider putting, I mean, like one fun thing to do, and I'm not sure that this is good because we do have 4 caverns, but the thing that I've been doing in my mono blue deck, which, you know, I 10-0'd with it and then I haven't played with it for like a month, but I may go back and play with it. I'm worried to like ruin my perfect record with it, but I may go back and play with it. But it's got 4 of this card, Archmage Charm, which allows you to steal your opponent's Tamio, which is pretty powerful, right? Like, Tamio is definitely a problem for this deck because she defends herself incredibly well against these go wide weenie strategies. And we saw there, like, she completely distracted us. Had Tamio not been on the table, she wouldn't have blocked, and then we probably still wouldn't have been able to race them. But it might have been close, you know. It wasn't close at all, though, because Tamio basically demands that you stop everything and you go and fight her. And, you know, I say this is like somebody who plays Tamio in lots of my decks, too. So I don't want to, like, I do think she needs to be banned. But I don't want to seem like a hypocrite. I want to acknowledge the fact that I play her in my mono blue list that I was just talking about. But one of the powers of Archmage Charm is the ability to just yoink an opposing Tamio. How, unfortunately, it does cost 4 mana, or 3 blue mana, and Cavern doesn't contribute to it. So I'm not sure that it's correct. There's probably some other Merfolk that I'm not thinking of that is just like a really good sideboard option against Tamio. And if you think of some Merfolk I should try to put in the sideboard, like, I'm not convinced Hull Breacher is necessary, frankly. And so I think these are flex slots. So leave a comment with a time, just with any suggestions you have for how we can improve this deck. But I will say this. I built this deck for my friend from Canada, whom I hung out with in Japan. I spent a total of $100. And the only thing I didn't include were the Force of Wills and the Sink into Stupors, which were like $10 each in Japan, or like $7 each. I didn't include those, but we built the deck for like $100. Like, and we didn't have the caverns. The caverns are like 50 each. But like, you can basically build a version of this deck that's like 80% as good for like $100. That's not an exaggeration. But the forces do add a lot, obviously, and the caverns, and of course the Sink and the Stupor, which you could easily include. I just wanted to like absolutely slash the budget. Like, these are like $1 each. Like, these cards are $1 each. Some of these cards are like 50 yen, which is like 35 cents or something, 40 cents each. So, and this is rare, right? So definitely consider this. The fact that Mistcaller is a 1/1 that gets buffed, and it's so powerful against so many of the decks that we face today. I think it was relevant in 3 of the 5 matchups today. You know, Mistcaller, don't sleep on it. Mindspring, we did get to use the ability to draw some cards and buff everything. That was cool. And this is just like a really well designed card. I think it's very strong. And I don't think it's overpowered or anything like that, but it rewards you for having a lot of Merfolk in your deck. And it's just a great way to, like, you spent your entire hand. Now let's refill a little bit, and let's stick with the theme of going wide and buffing our Mercs. So I don't really have anything further to say about this deck. Leave a comment if you'd like me to continue to playtest with it. I think it's really fun. It presents a lot of kind of combat puzzles and also a lot of sequencing decisions, but at the same time, it's not nearly as hard to play as, like, you know, Blue-Black Tempo or something like that. And it is an extremely cheap option if you just have a bunch of islands. I mean, if you have these cards lying around the house, consider just grabbing them and slapping them together and taking it to your weekly, if you are lucky enough to have a weekly in your area. I don't know how inexpensive it is on MTGO, but it's probably not a fortune, other than the fact that Force Negation is a fortune. I do think the 4 forces, like, in order to play the optimized no reserve list version of this deck, I think if you are cool with adding reserveless cards to your sideboard, I do think that you could replace these Harbingers with 2 Null Rods. We don't use artifacts for anything. And I'm sorry. Yeah, not the Harbingers. Replace the Hull Breachers with Null Rods. And that would be like a net positive to the deck. Because that does shut off Karnforge, which is a very scary deck. I'm not sure actually whether this deck has a favorable matchup against Karnforge, but I will say that Null Rod is a heck of a card, and I wish they would print something as good that was not on the reserve list that we can include in our decks. I do love, like maybe just print Collector Oof in every color. Maybe that's like the solution. So every color has access to it. White already has access to it in the form of that kind of enchantment. But I think blue should have a Null Rod too. Blue does have anti-artifact stuff. It's got like energy field and stuff like that. Nothing on the power level. They need to print a Null Rod Merfolk. That is my wish list. I know that is extremely unlikely, but if they printed like 1 blue, 1 colorless, or even 2 blue, 2/2 creature, artifacts can't be activated, like I would be so happy. I would just jam, like probably immediately jam 4 of those in the sideboard. Like they would probably take up the Harbinger, or yeah, I'd figure out a way to make it work. That would be super solid, in my opinion. So that's where I'll leave it today. I had a blast recording this league. I hope you liked my new format. Like I kind of like cut, and when I say format, like the look of the screen, I cut the comments off. Bosch doesn't show the comments, and I don't think any of the big three, Thraben U or the Epic Storm, whom I idolize basically. Like I've learned a tremendous amount from those gentlemen over the years. I don't think they show the comments. Like they just have a tighter kind of screen with bigger cards and stuff like that. So I kind of like reworked my OBS to do that. So you're not going to see like the people getting salty, but at the same time, you won't see the kindness, I guess, if I'm doing that. But I generally pass on, oh, my opponent said this, my opponent said that. So yeah, and I think it just keeps the UI a little cleaner. So I'll leave it there. I'm excited to be heading back to the States in a few days, and I'm going to record a ton of leagues. I don't seem to have the latency issue that I was having, even though I'm still technically in behind the Great Firewall. So that's good. Hopefully that holds up and I don't experience that anymore, and I can record a lot of leagues quickly, because this only took like 2.5 hours. Less than 2 hours to record a league. So I'm going to, some leagues that are in the queues. I know a lot of people like have become members and stuff, and they're like, oh man, is Be Excellent just going to drop off the face of the earth? Like, no, keep giving me $5 a month. It means a lot to me. I will say that like I've got mono black aggro coming. I've got I will be playing more mono blue. I'm going to be doing a ton of no reserve list decks, because I think they're strong and I want to show that they're strong. I think a lot of people think like, oh yeah, but you're handicapping yourself. No, you're not really handicapping yourself that significantly. It means that you can't play 3 color decks generally. But it does put some archetypes completely out of reach. Like you're never going to see no reserve list Alurin. You're never going to see no reserve list Stifle Knot, because those cards are on the reserve list, right? But I do think that like there's merit to continuing to demonstrate that Legacy is an accessible format, assuming they do take action and ban problematic cards like Entomb and the Upsell spell stuff. Like I do think Legacy can have a very long future ahead of it, even without like the extremely expensive dual lands and stuff like that. So I'm going to continue to try to prove that out, but I'll occasionally play like, what I consider to be like a fully powered Legacy deck, like I did with the Uro Pox Loam deck. So just let me know in the comments what types of decks you'd like me to play, and I'll play them. Because like as long as they're control and aggro type strategies, I just don't really have any interest in combo. So I would love to play Alurin. I might play Alurin, but I think it's going to get destroyed. I like creature based combo. Food Chain, I've never gotten it to work. I've tried, but I'm open to suggestions, and look for a lot more videos coming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Cheers. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.